this week we're going to go with who's the funny man, the funniest character in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Now, we're looking at this from an objective sense. So it's not necessarily who's the most comedic. It's just who we personally find is the funniest for ourselves.
Yeah.
And as a winner, you shall go first.
Okay, so I was thinking
Don't pick
about
my person.
it. We'll see. But I was thinking about it on who I thought was funny, and I looked down a list of characters, and one person stood out to me more than anyone else. And it's mainly because of his facial expressions and the way he acts. But my pick is Hercule, Mr. Satan.
You didn't pick my person. Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, Hercule. I love him. I think he's a great character as is. And he is, in my opinion, the funniest Dragon Ball character. He is so overconfident in everything he does, and every single time he gets slapped back to reality in the funniest of ways. And there's so many times where he tries to show off, and his facial expressions especially are incredible. But some of the things he says as well are great. Like even the little things, like he's running full sprint into the tournament, like the tournament arena, getting ready to fight. He's got his cape on, he's got his championship belt around his waist. All the crowd's cheering him on. He's running, he jumps, he does a spin in the air, bam, falls flat on his face. And you can see the bump rising on his head. And you can see the tears in his eyes. And he's just lying there for a few seconds, and the announcer guy's just like, you okay? Then he jumps back up to his feet and he's like, I got you! And you can see the tears in his eyes. But there's so many times with him getting hurt, which are just funny moments. Like again in that tournament when he's facing Trunks, and he knows Trunks is going to beat him. Even though Trunks is a kid, he knows he's completely outmatched. So he's like telling Trunks, please, just like, we've got this ceremony where you just give each other a little light punch to begin the fight. And he like comedically leans over to Trunks, and all the crowd is like, oh, look at him. He's being nice to the kid, giving him the first punch. And Trunks just goes, boop, and his face contorts as the punch goes through him. And he goes flying into the wall. And you see him again just lying on the ground shaking. And then he has to get up and act like nothing happened. It's just such a funny character. There's so many things. Another one during the Boo saga where him and Dende are trying to sneak up on Boo, and Dende's flying and is holding on to Mr. Satan, and he drops him. And Dende's like, okay, Boo's close by, let's hide down here. And he drops Mr. Satan out of the air, and he's fallen, and he's like wiggling around thinking, what do I do? And he's like, and he starts talking, saying, I'm the world champion, I got this. And he starts doing spins, and he lands, and he's like in a pose, and you're like, okay, he actually landed it. And then it zooms out, and you realize he's landed ball first on a rock, and he's in so much pain. And it's like, yeah, of course, so funny. And I think most of his comedic stuff in the series is just him getting hurt, if I'm honest.
Just pain.
Yeah, but it works. Like, there is no funnier character for getting hurt, and his facial expressions when he's in shock, when he's in fear, when he's getting hurt, so good. And yeah, I like him. Every time he's on screen, he says something, even if it's just him being over cocky, arrogant and stuff. It just comes off funny, and I think he's great. So he is my pick for funniest character in the Hall of Fame, hopefully. But who's yours?
Not a terrible choice. For me personally, it's one of the newbies, and it is the man himself, Whis.
Okay, right. Well, this is going to be a tough one because, yeah, I kind of forgot about Whis.
About it, didn't you?
I forgot about Whis, yeah. Okay.
Oh, you forgot about him. You would have picked him, wouldn't you?
Potentially, yeah. There's a very strong chance, yeah. Oof, okay.
It's everything about Whis, the way he carries himself. He's just very fabulous. Is the best way to. It's the one line. It's just the one-liners and everything like that, and just the way he simply carries himself. it's Ian Sinclair's delivery of Whis.
Mm.
For those who don't know, Ian Sinclair is the voice actor of Whis. If you've not seen him, look him up on YouTube of him doing the voice acting of Whis. He is Whis incarnate. The stance and everything, the voice, the facial expressions, it's all there. He lives for this character.
Yeah.
And it is brilliant. And he just it's fantastic. I just love the sound, the way he carries himself. And I can't get enough of him. Just whenever I hear him and the way he delivers, the way he just annihilates Lord Beerus all the time. He just doesn't care anything about Lord Beerus. He'll just lay into him.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about anybody. And he's just willing to just tear anyone apart. And I just think there's a certain something about that just aloofness that whenever he says anything, for the most part, I don't think there's ever a time that he's not on screen where there's not just a smirk on my face in some way. So it's not that he's directly doing anything. It's just his presence on screen that I enjoy. And then, of course, he'll drop a one-liner or something like that, or he'll lay into Beerus, like he'll be doing an impression. Like there's basically when Goku accidentally drops a minute in the Tournament of Power, and Beerus obviously doesn't stop him, and basically Beerus doesn't want Bulma to find out. And Whis is basically saying, should I tell her? He's like, don't tell her, don't tell her. And he just does an entire impersonation of her. And Whis is just basically doing an entire impersonation of Bulma in his ear, and it's just basically shouting, nobody likes you. It's just great.
There's so many moments like that. Like even just like when the world's exploding and then he's just chilling in the background eating ice cream. It's like, Go for it, Whis.
And it's Goku, and the first time Goku and Beerus are fighting, Beerus is just saying, you should be watching me, and he's just like, I'll be right there. And he's saying, so this is what you call soy sauce. Just doesn't care. No cares what at all. And it's just, he just brings a smile to your face about how he when Goku turns Ultra Instinct for the first time and he sees it and how excited he gets, and he's like, he actually did it! I didn't think he actually managed to pull it off! It looks so wonderful! It's not the fact that he actually makes jokes or anything like that. It's just his mannerisms and everything. And I just can't praise Ian Sinclair enough. And for those who haven't watched his performances on YouTube, do it. I've watched him do multiple iterations. He's an OG fan. I've watched multiple interviews, and he says it's an honor to be able to be in Dragon Ball now. So he takes it all very, very seriously. And you can see that he gets a true pleasure from doing it. And I mean, he does the Whis stance as he's doing it. So he's stood upright, his hands are behind his back, and he's Lord Beerus. He's just really enjoying himself. So I would strongly advise anybody to see it. But for me, the fabulous man that is Whis is the one that always puts a smile on my face whenever he's on screen.
This is going to be a close one because both characters, Hercule and Whis, are funny for their mannerisms more than them actually just telling jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but for different ways. Like Whis is because of his like lack of care towards things, whereas
aloofness.
Whereas Hercule is just him being abused, which is what's funny. I remember one line where he's trying to kind of distract Kid Buu, and Kid Buu's having a meltdown inside his head because Fat Buu's inside him trying to escape, and he spits him out eventually. But during this time where he's like rolling around, like screaming, holding his head, Hercule's right in front of him after just trying to fake punch him and not doing any damage whatsoever, and he just says, "I don't suppose you're intimidated by my greatness." And it's like, what? Of course not. But it's just so lack of self-awareness is incredible. He thinks he's so strong and powerful and people should fear him, and it's just not the case at all. Love him.
I did have a backup, and it was it was it was it was a man who does again for similar reasons as we put a smile on my face,
Hmm.
and that is the almighty Freezer. I do
Yes,
love I do love a one-liner from Freezer.
same, same.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines in all of Dragon Ball is that oh ho, ho, hello monkeys. He just loves it so much.
Yeah.
It's one of those lines that it's just you feel it that he's just powerful, and just
Mhm.
anytime someone can threaten him, he just doesn't feel it, and he'll
Shoots
just
you down.
twist it back round
Yeah,
and dig the knife in,
yeah,
and it doesn't matter.
yeah.
And he'll turn anything into just this barb that
Mm.
just proper sinister, just a brutal roast, and you just love it. You really enjoy it.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
again, it's not jokes; it's his attitude and his sass
his
that you really
charisma. Yeah,
enjoy.
that's it.
Yeah,
Like he's high on my list as well. Like he's not intentionally funny and he's not trying to be funny, but the way he talks, his charisma levels are off the charts, and that's what makes him such a great character. That's why I love Frieza, and that's why a lot of people love Frieza as a villain. The best villain in maybe anime history. He's so good, and that's because of his charisma and his pronunciation and the way he acts. It's not intentionally funny, but he's just great.
I think the thing is, they've always done right by the voice actors for
Yeah.
Frieza. There have been a few
Mhm.
voice actors, and they've never really gotten it wrong for the most part.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, they've obviously had to change quite a bit, and there've been a few since the originals. Um, there's obviously been reasons they've had to change it recently,
Mhm.
but um, I think they've done very well, and especially with the super issues they've dealt with Chris Ayres and Damon Mills. They did very well,
Mhm.
and the delivery for them too was fantastic. And
Yep.
I loved it. I
Yeah, me
loved the
too.
super delivery, but from both of them, and I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed Super.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed Super because he was funny, but he also used it to attack people.
Yeah.
Like when he was fighting Jiren, he used it to enrage him. He actually used it as a weapon, used
Mhm.
it to enrage him, to distract him. He actually points it out, and he uses it as a weapon, and he's been known to do that regularly.
Mhm.
And I like that.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
one of Frieza's tactics.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
it.
He's a great character. But for this Hall of Fame, we are narrowing it down, I guess, to
Yeah,
your pick of Whis and my pick of Mr. Satan. So them are the two choices. It's going to be a close one, and honestly, I'm not sure again. Like last week, I said I wasn't sure who was going to win out of Master Roshi and Krillin for the best character growth, and it was close in the polls too. And this one, I'm not sure either because both have a lot of funny moments. So it'll be
yeah.
interesting. It'll be another close one. But if you want to vote, go check out our social media links down below. Get involved, get voting, and we will find out next episode who enters our Hall of Fame. But
Imagine.
for now, but for now, let's move on to the hot take.